produced by Do You Validate? Episode 3, Fall.
I'm Danielle, and I'm playing Charles the Big Game Hunter. Charles looks exactly like the hunter from Jumanji, just with a velvet smoking jacket over his outfit, but of course he still has a pith helmet and a giant mustache.
Charles is an elderly man, spent his life hunting down the most exotic animals he could find. Then one day, Charles came upon his first monstrous beast. At that very moment, Charles knew what he had to do with his life. Focus on hunting these newly discovered beasts, so he can reupholster his trophy room in the hide and skin of all the winged creatures he can find. Charles has been able to hunt down all of his prey but one, a quad-winged manticore. If Charles can take down this behemoth, he can finally finish up his trophy room. A year after Charles turned his eye to a deadly target, he teamed up with Alice.
I'm Dallas, and I'm playing Alice the Expert. Alice has spent their life dedicated to researching the supernatural and unexplained. All over time, they can find ways to connect mysterious events to the occult or some beast. Alice spends most of their time in their lore library, far away from danger. Alice teamed up with Charles because they were also very interested in winged monsters. Many of them defy all logic on how they can fly with their mass-to-wing ratios. That partnered with the specimens Charles brings back for Alice made Charles an easy choice to team up with. Alice has a proclivity for winged cryptids, but they do find all types interesting. Like their ghost companion, Harold.
I'm Paul, and I'm playing Harold the Monstrous. Harold was owner and operator of an amusement park until one fateful day his whole life changed. Well, it actually ended. Harold was doing some cleaning up in the Hall of Mirrors when a large manticore snuck in and it had Harold for a meal. The next morning, Harold woke up to find Charles and Alice standing over him with shocked looks on their faces. Harold stood up and looked down to see his mangled body on the ground and his spectral hands reaching out in front of him. Not having an understanding of anything involving ghosts outside of the movie Casper, Harold assumes his unfinished business is to team up with Charles and Alice to hunt down this beast.
I'm Brandon, and I'm playing Lope the Wronged. Lope knew nothing about ghosts and ghouls until it was too late. Lope came home and had one last dinner with his wife and son before it happened. He got up to go to the kitchen, and when he came back, the manticore had already ripped his wife and kid to shreds. He lost everything that mattered to him, right then and there. Grabbing whatever he could, Lope assaulted the manticore and took its eye. His attack sent the manticore running, and after that, Lope met up with Charles on their shared hunt of the beast. All Lope wants in life is to even the stakes with this creature, and today, he wants to see that through.
Charles has spent his whole life hunting down beasts, but none have ever given him such a challenge as this quad-winged manticore. With the aid of Alice, Harold, and Lope, Charles is sure to take down his prey. Ready to end things once and for all, these four load up for the final hunt in Waukegan, Illinois.
So you have all traced this manticore down, and it has made its haven in this old abandoned motel called the Midios Inn. You know where the manticore is, so right now you all kind of need to make a plan to have a diversion tactic to get it out of there, because Alice has researched some manticore poison that they can plant inside of its nesting area to make it weaker. So the essential idea is draw the manticore out of its nest long enough to plant the poison, let the manticore go back to its nest, and then ambush it later that night. You all are going to be deciding how you're going to do that right now.
Well, chaps, it's wonderful. Wonderful that we've almost got the manticore. Here, does anybody have any suggestions on how to draw it out of its lair so that we can poison it, put it back, and then skin it? Who's got thoughts?
I'm not sure about the skinning it part. It's a lot better to research specimens while they're still alive. And this is a quite particular specimen that I am very interested in researching. But we could always just, like, annoy it out of the nest so that, like, if you just, like, poke it enough, it might get really mad and, like, try to chase you away. Or, if it's nesting, it may have eggs. And if it has eggs, then we could try to steal the eggs.
Omelets!
And if we think that
Brilliant
it's a threat
idea,
on its
Alice.
nest, then it'll come and chase us away from its eggs. Ooh.
Yes, I'm feeling quite peckish myself. You're quite right.
Lopez just like sitting back away from everybody, arms crossed, kind of watching everything, mutters out kind of softly to himself, "Manticore's fast. You don't want chasing you."
Very
That's a very
intuitive,
good
Lope.
point, yeah. And it does have it has 2 sets of wings? That's what makes it...
It's very large for a manticore. Even though manticore aren't common, you'd say this is around like a good 10 and a half feet. And it does have a second set of wings, and it's a full set of wings. It's not like a smaller one. So it's definitely a very terrifying looking beast.
So we could build a decoy.
Like a little manticore baby out of, I don't know, sheets and things.
Yes. Or yes.
I mean, I could just go. It can't fly through stone, right? Like, what's its layer?
I
It's a
don't
cave,
expect that
right?
manticores can fly through stone. I've never met a manticore that can fly through stone. I'd have to go back into my research in order to figure out if there's any history of manticores flying through stone.
So I could float in through. Harold phases up and down through the floor, like this. Annoy it, in theory, and then float back up through, and it would come out chasing something, but
It could touch you, old chap. It could with its claws, and
I know, but if I could pass in through the wall and just up out of there, unless it's got some kind of boundary.
It's true, but like, can a ghost die again?
Oh,
This is something that's
I
never
am
been
not excited
established
to
by
find out,
science.
but it doesn't seem to have worked so far. Yes.
No, I have tried. If anybody can figure it out, please send me your research. Thank you.
Listen, Weston, how far you can shoot?
Oh, how far can I shoot? It depends on the kind of weapon. I have quite a nice high-powered rifle. I would say a couple 100 yards at least.
So Harold goes in, gives it a spookum. We get in the car, drive out, fire at it from as far as we can, get moving.
A road race with weaponry. I like how you think, Lope.
Who's driving?
He kind of shrugs.
Well, I'm shooting. Shouldn't shoot and drive at the same time. It's ludicrous.
I can drive.
I think we've established I can't.
Obviously.
Well, not
That
with
sounds
that
good to
attitude,
me.
Harold.
Your lifeist approach to things is really starting to rub me the wrong way, and I am going
So
to...
wait a second. If we're driving while the manticore is chasing us, who's gonna plant the poison?
Well, sounds like a job for Alice.
Oh, me. Oh, you want me to go? Oh,
Well, yes.
Unless you want to drive.
yeah, okay, I can do that.
You know all about the poison. You're the perfect person to handle it.
Yeah, you just want me to go into the lair of a beast and
No,
go into
we'll
its
go in,
nest
I'll
and
go into the
plant-
lair.
Mm.
You'll get to deal with it out in the world, where it can fly.
And if things get bad, I'll toss the wheel over to Charles and come back for you.
The idea of the poison is you want to soak all the food sources of the manticore in the poison just in case. You're pretty much just hedging your bets, especially for a manticore of this size. Even if it doesn't detect anything, you just want to make sure that it's potent enough. So the idea kind of that you're all proposing is that Lope and Charles go in a car. Charles draws fire after Harold does some spooky ghost stuff to try to draw it out of the building. And then Alice waits long enough to go in and plant the poison.
Yep.
Precisely.
Well, it sounds like a plan. You know what? And
It does
honestly,
sound
this
like
is
a
probably
plan.
our best plan. We should have a backup plan, though.
Well,
Like, what's plan B? What happens if the manticore turns around because it decides it doesn't want to chase something that's shooting at it because it's tired?
yeah, we
I
likely
get out the car
die.
and come back for you.
A better call.
I'm a
Okay.
fan.
I'm just gonna pack my shotgun just in case.
But we wouldn't just let you languish there like some kelpie or something like that. We're obviously going to come back and get you.
All right, well, Sounds like a plan to me.
Well, gird your lines, friends, because it's time to go manticore hunting. Ha!
Let's get this manty.
What kind of preparation are y'all doing before this? What kind of stuff would you want to have to be prepared for this fight?
Probably like smoke or flash bombs to enable running away in emergencies.
Alice, they are gonna kind of stock up on some just defensive stuff.
Can Charles give everybody a pith helmet? Not that it's going to help, it's symbolic.
Harold's like, you can try and give me a pith helmet.
Is that like the hat from the Hunter and Jumanji, dude?
100%.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Charles offers everybody a pith helmet if they would like it. Obviously, Harold can't take it.
Clack, 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 clack,
Oh,
clack.
I keep forgetting about that. I'm so sorry. Let me just.
No, it's fine. I appreciate the thought. Harold floats down through to the lore library and looks up what manticores might be most frightened of or dislike the most, because that's got to be something to try and emulate while we're in the cave.
Alice, what kind of like stuff do you have for like lore checks and stuff?
Well, I have person with a plan, so like at the beginning of each mystery I can roll sharp, so I guess I'll roll sharp. Oh, I got 7, but then, my sharp is +2, so that gets me 9.
Nice.
Oh, well, then I do wish to assist if that's...
Yeah, so you can roll to help out.
So a 9, and I expose myself to trouble or danger. You pull a +1.
Alice goes down, they search through their lore library, and then find out that there is this certain type of magical silver blade. It's not that it hurts them really bad. It's like the idea of a paper cut for a manticore. Like just the touch of this kind of silver on their skin. It is also not good for ghosts. You will be more susceptible to damage. Whenever you're wielding it, you would take 1 additional harm. But that would definitely like really make a manticore pissed and annoyed.
Well, is that a thing we have and or can get?
You know what I'm saying? Alice has that.
Oh, well, splendid.
Can we get that in bullet form?
No, it is definitely like, it's not a one-of-a-kind sword, but the material that it's made from.
And the shape of it, perhaps.
Yeah, and all of that. Like, it's definitely not I'm assuming Alice isn't the type that wants to, like, melt down their...
Oh, of course not.
their artifacts and stuff like that.
Well, raisinets, Alice.
This is a valuable historical artifact.
Yes, but the manticore is a valuable historical beast.
I'm going to leave it in the trunk for now.
Okay.
While we ride over.
Lope and Charles.
Were we going to take Charles's car or Lope's car?
I was thinking we were going to take Lope's car.
What's Lope's car?
Lope's car is a jet black lowrider converted 1984 Cutlass Supreme with refinished red leather interiors.
Wow, you really did spend an hour looking up cars.
I think if you're going to go driving around town shooting a gun, you got to look fucking cool when you're doing it. So
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna
It came
mount.
from his life before. It's the only thing that you know came from his life before.
you can safely rig up a gun mount in his car. It's not, you assure Lope that it's not going to scratch the car, and it doesn't.
No, it's all suction
Yeah.
and magnets.
What are you doing, Lope?
Lopez got the trunk open, and it's just like filled with like terrifying shit for someone to have in the back of their car. Knives and rope, tape and chains, and just like it's like a horrifying thing if you didn't
It's a
know.
serial killer car.
It's a serial killer car, yeah. He talks with Charles, picks up like a 6-pack of beer and an energy drink. He's prepared. He's always prepared.
How are Harold and Alice, are you two just going to kind of sneak your way down to the Manticore lair?
Ride to there, and I'm going to sneak in, and then, I should find a good place to hide while I go annoy it into coming out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the two of you can be going and, like, setting up, like, a block away, so you don't have to do any rolls yet. So where is the car, like, sitting outside of it? What's the plan where Lope and Charles are in the car?
Charles told me how far he can shoot, so I put the car about that distance, and we're in drive.
That makes sense to me.
Okay, and so I'm assuming Charles has one of his, like, long-range, high-caliber snipers.
Oh,
set up.
100%. It's modded out.
Lopez got a rifle with him too, but he's probably not going to be doing much shooting the rifle while driving. That seems really hard.
Alice or Harold, whichever one of you want to, roll to read a bad situation, so as you're kind of, like, assessing your approach.
Well, since my plan is to phase in and through the buildings to get away, that is definitely an Alice call.
9.
So you get to choose one question off of that list. I will say 9 is helpable. Oh, also, I'm assuming you grabbed the sword?
Yeah, the sword is in with the gear. I'm going to grab it before I don't wander around just holding a thing that makes me vulnerable.
I'm carrying the sword right now, and I'm going to give it to Harold.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so Harold, you can roll to help out.
That is a 9. What am I
plus
doing?
Cool.
Then 10.
You give them a +1, and so you actually now get to hold 3 off of the read a bad situation list.
Let's see. The question I want to ask is where's a safe spot to hide, but I suppose the way that could be determined is like what's the best way in and any dangers I haven't noticed.
You're trying to look in there, and what you see is it's a single level motel. It looks like the main office is kind of like in the middle of it, and then spread off from like each side there's like a row of rooms. On the left side of the main office, you do see there's like a big broken in window, and so you look in and to see that is the side that the manticore has kind of taken a nap in. And so you think the best way for you to try to like be able to get in there once Harold spooks it, there is a series of dumpsters that you could probably hide in while Harold is going in to draw it out and then get out and then go into there. Part of the plan is because manticores have very heightened senses, but the dumpsters definitely would mask your smell. And also they're protective to be inside of. So you do get a lay of where the manticore is, and you do see it in there. It's sleeping.
And then the other question that I'm going to have right now, and I'm going to hold one of them, but the other question is, are there any dangers that we haven't noticed?
Right now, it does seem like the intel that like you had been gathering was right, that like it's kind of not full hibernation season, but like it's a little more tired, and it doesn't seem like there's any suspicious stuff going on. It does look like you'd be able to, without any like checks or anything like that, if you're just like, going forward with the plan, you can just go hide in the dumpsters.
Okay. Well, seems good to me. Okay, I'm gonna hide in the dumpster. You take the sword.
Sure. All right.
I'm gonna get into the dumpster, and while I'm in there, I'm actually gonna rub some trash on me to try to mask my smell a bit more.
When Harold draws the sword, he fizzles in, is a little less transparent, and so little color comes into his face, but that fades back out. So mono gray, but a little thicker through. Harold is going to make his way through the front gate, so he kind of gets a grip of what there is to like avoid as he passes back out as quickly as possible without getting eaten.
You're going to roll act under pressure. You're just trying to like sneak your ghost way in there.
That's a 6.
It's occurring to me right now that we sent like our least combat capable people in.
Is there anywhere I can help out in
You're
this?
in a dumpster rubbing trash on yourself right now.
I can't, no.
Yeah, no. Alice, they're in a dumpster. Be like, all right, so what? Just I'm ready, rubbing all this trash to me.
He's like, ooh,
Harold
Chick-fil-A.
starts to float in. You're holding the sword, and you're like, okay. I can do this. You go into a wall, and you kind of forget because you're not used to holding things that like things don't go through walls with you that well, and you have to like actually use some effort to do that. So you just drop this sword, and it falls down and clanks on the ground.
Smooth.
And then the manticore just immediately like perks up, and then you see it start to sniff the air. You have noticed a particular smell that comes off of this metal because, like I said, it affects ghosts and like supernatural beings. And you can kind of tell that, oh no, you just brought in this thing that manticores hate, and it's definitely can like smell that it has something there. And the manticore is about one motel room away from you, but the wall between these rooms are like broken. Because it's just like knocked down probably about 4 or 5 lengths of walls for rooms. And so the manticore is now shuffling awake, and the sword is on the wall behind you.
Harold goes back through the wall to get the sword. But we'll pass back out through the hallway. We'll use the door rather than like try and drag the sword back through the wall again, because that was kind of weird.
You're gonna roll act under pressure again.
You're not used to holding stuff. It has been a long thing.
And you're gonna take a -1 on this.
Well, act under pressure. That's still a 5. So I'm gonna level up before we get done here at this.
Like
this
the manticore's like shuffling awake, and you're like, okay, and so you back through the wall pick up the sword, about to back through the wall, and you're like, no, not getting old Harold again. You go around the doorway, into the hallway, into the door again, and then you see the manticore is like looking at you, and you go to like pull the sword up, and then it just kind of gets stuck in the doorway that you just walked through because you like were trying to like not swing it to attack the manticore, but swing it to get it ready. And you just kind of like chunk it into the wall, and it's now stuck.
Oh, come on.
And you're having a hard time physically grabbing it anymore.
I have a move called hunches when things are about to go like really, really bad. Do you mind if I roll for that?
Yeah. If you got a hunch, this is definitely a hunch moment.
So we get like a scene that shows Lope just like sitting in the car, like drumming his fingers on the dashboard and just like shaking his head and going, he hasn't got it. There's no way. An 8. So on a 7 to 9, I get there in time to intervene, but not stop it completely. So I'm going to get there once it actually goes bad.
So are you driving both of us, or did you jump out the car?
How would you, you tell me that right now. Would you be taking the car, or are you bolting and running?
Let's bring the car. Let's do this. So like we're sitting there, and then just suddenly just like he like swings the wheel to the side, and just like there's dust flying up from the wheels as he's driving back towards the motel.
Charles, you're looking through your scope, and you saw that Harold just like floated into the room, and then he looks a little confused, and you see him float back out, and then you see him come back out, and like see him like chunk the sword in, and before you can say anything...
It's a good thing no one can see or is aware of my failures, Harold thinks, as he's tugging on the sword. Oh, come on.
You were positioned like with the gun out of the back.
Yeah.
And so the car just like drives forward, whips a U-turn around, and then is just like barreling back towards the Medios Inn. Alice, you are in the trash can. You hear the rev of a sweet-ass engine, and you definitely recognize it as Lope's car, and it sounds like, well, to you, it sounds like it's coming directly at you.
I just cover my mouth with both hands and, like, curl myself up in the dumpster, like, don't move, don't make a sound. Oh, my God.
Okay,
This is gonna work. I'm not gonna ruin it.
This is perfect. Alice just continues to curl up in a ball, probably rubbing a bit more trash on themselves. just
hide.
As Lope is like barreling towards the motel, Harold is trying to grab the sword and is now like cussing at it and is just getting pretty mad himself, and also says a thing out loud of like, at least no one saw anything I did.
It's just a personal, private failure. I can still fix this and make it all okay, and not everyone will be here in a few minutes.
You then realize like you finally get the sword loose, and then you see the manticore is just like standing right next to you, like teeth baring at you, and is about to take a big swipe out of you. And then you hear a honking from outside. Lope, what do you say as you crash into the building?
Lope doesn't say things. He's not a big say things person. I think he just like smashes through the front of the building, like slams on the emergency brake, and just like
In the car. It's
a convertible, so he comes up over the glass and just like has his big gun out and just is firing into the manticore.
Okay, I want you to give me 2 rolls. First off, you're gonna give me an act under pressure plus with tool, and I'm gonna give you an additional +1 since you were acting off of your hunch move.
10.
You drive the car in. Some of like the walls are ripped down, some of the windows were like knocked out so the manticore could come and go. So the fact that it is a convertible, there's only a narrow amount that actually has to pass through. So you are able to hit off of a ramp of some debris, because like I said, it's an abandoned motel that was like left out in front, and it launches you just high enough in the air to where your car perfectly goes through an opening on the side of the motel, crashing into the side of the manticore. And you were already ready to do a cool move, so you've unbuckled your seatbelt because you had it buckled in the first place, because safety first. And you are now just doing a somersault in the air, so you can roll to kick some ass on the manticore and take an additional +1 on top of whatever your tough was, because you got a full success on the act under pressure.
That is a 10 on the dice, +1 for knowing my prey, because when I'm fighting the breed of monster that caused my loss, I get a +1, and plus an additional 2 for my tough, so I'm at a 13.
Choose what extra effects you want. And then after this, we'll kind of like take it back a little bit to whenever the car whips around of what Charles would start to do, because I think he could put together what was about to happen.
The first thing Charles goes, "What the devil?" And then the car whips around, so Charles whips his gun around, like the mount of the gun because of course it's on a swivel.
Yeah.
Gets ready. We crash into the motel. Charles is yelling the whole time. The whole time. It makes him feel very powerful. His mustache is rippling in the wind. And he gets ready to let off a big shot directly into the Manticore's belly.
All right, great. So what were the things that you're going to pick for your attack?
Trade harm on each other.
Okay.
Which for me is 3 harm, close and loud.
He'll do you 2 harm back as he's like takes a swipe at you in the air as his like body is like barrel rolling from the being hit by your car.
Nice. And I'm going to completely hold the advantage. All hunters involved in the fight get +1 forward.
Yes.
All right, hell yeah.
Alice wants to read a bad situation because they are hearing a lot of stuff.
Okay, so let Charles roll for kick some ass.
7.
You'll take 2 damage, but not from the Manticore. You'll take 2 damage because you're in a car that just wrecked. And then how much damage do you do for your sniper?
It's 3 harm.
Okay.
I think
All right.
Charles just like victoriously cheers and then at the same time smashes into the side of a motel. He's like, I've done it!
Alice, you can peek your head out of the dumpster and you can read a bad situation. The thing about what's
another
happening
10.
is loud.
With a full success, you notice the car crash and gunfire. Sweet.
You know that shit is going down.
So what's the biggest threat? And I still have a question that I held from the last read a bad situation. If I could ask that now and figure out what's the best way out for me so that I don't get hurt, considering that I'm right next to the action, but in a dumpster. Yeah, and I'll figure out the other two.
The biggest threat is definitely this now enraged Manticore. Even though it just got hit by a car and shot, it hasn't taken a lot of damage for what the Manticore kind of would like, need to be taken down. And the best way for you to kind of get out is actually, Lope's car is really fucking good. And even though it just flew in the air and hit a Manticore, it is still on and just like a headlight is cracked and there's a little scratch on the side of it. But like his car, the way that the car fell, it is like facing outward to where it could drive out of the motel.
Okay, and then one of my other questions, I'm still figuring out the third one, is what's the best way to protect everyone who's now in the motel fighting a Manticore who was not supposed to be there?
You see the sword that Harold has stuck in the wall. If you wanted to protect everyone else, because this one isn't about protecting you, it would be like get the sword and like try to lure it away within the car.
Okay.
Not necessarily an Alice move per se, but
no, it's not. I'm going for all angles here. I gotta see all the angles to find the right solution. What is the most vulnerable to me? Like, what could I use my power against?
Nothing seems like too particular vulnerable to you. Like I said, like with the sword, the Manticore is vulnerable to that, but there's nothing that is like an easy shot right now. There's definitely the idea of a plan is to have it go well. Right now, that did not happen, so there's not a lot of vulnerability happen on the enemy side, more so y'all's side. I guess what's vulnerable to you is the plan that you had put in place before.
Yeah. I'm going to lift up the dumpster a bit and be like, Charles,
Alice!
get the sword.
It's
in the door. Get the sword.
The sword. Righto.
Get the sword.
And
I'm going to drop back down.
Charles hops out of the back of the car, kind of like limping a little bit, pulls on the sword and just gives a...
So before Charles does that, what is Harold doing?
Where is the Manticore in relation to the sword?
It was like probably like a good like 5 feet away from you, but then it's now very occupied by Lope, who is just like hit it with a car and like shot it midair, like doing a somersault. And then so Lope is just like firing at it and like running around the room. So it's pretty.
Harold's like, that is the coolest thing I have ever seen, and I have pierced the boundary of death. And he's kind of stupefied for a moment, and I want to reaches back for the sword. Unless you want to roll with Charles running over, but
yeah, you could have heard for the call for the sword. Like it's
I want to focus up all of my ghostness, and I want to roll. Because this is not an attack roll, I'm trying to manifest my ghostery.
Yeah, you're trying. Yeah,
so I want to try for weird here.
Yeah, roll weird. You're trying to use your ghost powers to really grab the hell out of the sword.
Ooh.
Well, that is a 13. So I totally,
nice.
I have the power of that shit. Like like He-Man, Arthurian legend,
so
etc.
you all see like Harold kind of looks around, and with his embarrassment of the situation he's somewhat caused, you see him like ghost up. You do see him one-handed grab the sword. He is now wielding it.
It flies over towards the Manticore and tries to stake at it.
Roll to kick some ass.
8 because we're pulled the +1
So
there.
you land a blow on it. This thing to the Manticore will do 3 damage, and it's now like turns its attention onto you and the blade in your hand as like some of the blood from the Manticore is like drips down, like kind of sizzles. The sizzle of the blood actually kind of drips down in your hand, actually, Harold. And that's what causes you to take 2 damage.
Harold drops the thing.
I think Charles is going to, since I'm no longer going and dealing with the sword, Charles is going to pull out his shotgun, which he has strapped to his back, of course.
Okay.
And he's going to kneel, set, and shoot.
Great, yeah. So roll to kick some ass on the Manticore.
7.
So how much damage do you do to it with your shotgun?
3 close and messy. Let's see, where am I going to shoot it? In the booty?
I believe that is the place to approach it from.
Yeah, you shoot it right in the booty, and like its tail like coils whacks you, and so you're gonna take 2 damage. You know the tail of a Manticore is very dangerous. And you see that there's some like pulsing goo that's now on like your arm where you got hit, and if it's not dressed soon, the Manticore's poison might start to set in. So you're not taking any damage right now, but...
I'm not taking damage currently.
Well, no, you did take that 2 damage, what I'm saying, but like the poison hasn't set in, but like you know from just facing this thing before, if you don't do something, and Alice definitely has like antidotes and stuff like that on them. And actually, you probably all would have, with the exception of Harold, who, you know, is a ghost. You all would have some like Manticore poison antidote on you, so...
Can I shake it on myself quickly?
Yeah, we'll let you, like, you can deal with that next turn. So now we're gonna go back to Lope. The Manticore definitely, like, is wide awake. It's very mad. So what are you gonna do?
Well, we had a plan, and I'm gonna stick by it.
My man!
It's mad at me, right?
Oh, it's definitely pretty mad at you. And then also, you definitely do know, like, the sword. You know all the stuff about the sword and how it hates that, and you saw that Harold like swiped it with a sword, and then Harold dropped it.
All right, here's the plan. So Lopez has just been like, he's got like just like one eye closed, very casual, like as he's moving around, firing at it as many times as he can. And he just like is trying to move around the room to get to the sword. Once he has it, he gets like this big grin on his face. So he like ducks and rolls, grabs the sword, comes up, and we get this flashback and like this black and white kind of thing of when the Manticore came and ate his family, him like jabbing part of a sword into its face. And so like he just like gets this big grin and asks, "Hey, remember me?" And then just like charges forward, slashes at it once, just to get its attention, not like trying to like actually fight it, to like get himself over to the car and try to get the hell out of it, drawing its ire.
You're gonna roll act under pressure.
7.
You go fire at it, draw its attention, and do like a cool slide under it as you deliver your line of like, "Remember me," as you pick up the sword and like stab it right around the same area that you had stabbed it before, and then pull the sword out and start making your way for the car. And then just like right before you like can get in the car, the Manticore's claw like swipes you in the back. You take 2 damage as you like slide into the driver's seat, and you're able to like start revving up the engine, and you can't take off right away. You definitely have its attention though.
And Lopa's just like wordlessly screaming at its face as he just like slams down the accelerator.
What's Alice doing after this? Are you just still kind of waiting?
I think I want to actually try to... Can I attack it with my juju bag without looking at it? Or do I have to exit the dumpster?
You could like peek at it with your juju bag. Like you could like peek out of the dumpster kind of thing.
Because I just want to try to keep it riled so that leaves the building.
You're gonna be using some magic, right?
That's weird. 8.
You do 1 harm to it, and it hits a little bit. It doesn't seem like it did much. And then the juju bag, it's weird because once you picked it up, like it kind of sparked back on you, and so you're gonna take 1 harm, and you've never had it do kind of like a backlash of that. And it just kind of seems like the juju bag was a lot more powerful than it ever had been with you before. Harold and Charles, what are you two doing? So Charles, you just blast with the shotgun, and you see that Lope is in the car about to like ride away. And then Harold, you were just holding your ghost hand after you got some Manticore blood on you from the special silver.
Harold's moving away from the Manticore and towards the vehicle.
Well, Charles, do I need to get this medicine on immediately?
It's so like the poison isn't like it's not like as bad as like every 1 damage every turn, but like you'll take like 1 damage kind of like over the like every few like 10 or so minutes you would take the harm. So you can wait a little bit to do it, but every time like it would kind of hit you, it just hits you a little harder.
Okay.
So it's like it is a slow burn poison. So you could hold back and apply the antidote now, or you could try to just go hop in the car.
I think Charles would want to get back to the big gun in the car.
Okay.
Before applying it to himself, because he'll go, damn this poison. Wait, Lope, I'm coming. And he runs and he's just like, ow, son of the Queen's army.
You're going to act under pressure because you're trying to make your way back into the car.
8.
You do make your way into there and you grab the gun and you notice that the gun is no longer like properly holstered in there. So you can use it, but it's going to be hard because this is definitely a gun that you need a good prop for. So you realize that shooting it from the car, you're going to take a -1 moving forward with the gun, like with that big gun, not any gun.
Damn this modern age machinery. Lope, you just drive, and if it doesn't work, I've got 3 other guns strapped to me. We'll be fine.
All right, and then Harold.
Harold is flying toward Alice because I have not seen you do anything, and you may just be in the dumpster, and we're fucking... you should be aware of what's happening here.
Right. So, I think, Lope, you peel out, and you're able to get the Manticore to chase you down. Charles is, like, firing off a few rounds at it to get its attention, and so the Manticore is now chasing the two of you.
So you're sitting in the dumpster, and you see Harold's face just phase through the steel out through a garbage bag. Hey, it went really badly, but it's gone now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm gonna go see what...
Thank you for telling me that it's gone, though, because that's the thing I need to know. Okay.
All right, so I'm gonna go keep watch and see what I can help with.
Okay. I'm gonna hop out of the dumpster, crawl my way over to the nest.
And you're gonna give me an investigate a mystery, because you're gonna be checking out, like, its lair and stuff like that.
5.
You go in there and you start to look around. You are like, okay, Manticores, they like to eat, and you are just very scared and nervous because, like, you were in the dumpster and then saw all this crazy shit happen, and it's just like, this Manticore has been hit by a car, shot by, like, giant guns, been sliced by a bunch of swords, and it's still, like, running at them, and you're just, like, in its lair, and you just start to kind of freak out, and without realizing it, you're just dumping the poison just on arbitrary things. Like there's a couch, there's a pile of leaves, there is a pile of, like, you know, carcasses that it has been eating on, so you happen to get a little bit on some of its food source, but you're just dumping this very limited resource all over as you're just thinking of all the different stories you've read about how Manticores kill people.
I'm picturing it something like when someone tries to throw a bucket of water on a fire and they're like 10 feet short and they just like toss it and it lands.
Is Harold just kind of watching on?
Harold is flying up sort of above so I can see the Manticore and the car chase as well as keep an eye on Alice.
So Alice is just throwing stuff around, and as far as you know, they're doing a great job. So we're going to cut back over to Lope and Charles. The Manticore is hot on your tail. Charles is firing rounds off and it's able to dodge in and out of the way of them. Lope, you know, you're not in a heavily populated downtown area, but you're definitely not on a great place to be driving around with a 10.5 foot tall Manticore chasing you. It's kind of like a smaller town. It's got a lot of rural and flat plains areas, but there are still people that live out there. So you're in the more rural area. Are you just kind of trying to just hold its attention, waiting long enough to get the okay, or what kind of tactics are you taking with this pretty much high-speed chase that you're on?
So Lope is in a good mood now, and he's calling back to Charles, the plan's working.
If you say so.
As soon as I'm away, we're far enough away from the motel that we don't think it's gonna immediately turn around, Lope is gonna turn the wheel and get off the road and move in a direction that it seems like there isn't human life. If there is some open farmland, if there is a field, just a direction away from where people might be.
You're going to give me just a sharp roll, And this is just like a general, like, see what you can kind of pick up from the area you're in.
It's an 8.
You are starting to come up in like a 3-way intersection, and you're like looking around, and you can just see that like the right kind of starts taking you a bit more out of town. So like you screech and take a hard right going in there, and you look down and you realize that from the crash, the fuel tank has a small puncture in it because you're losing gas right now. If Alice can complete the task in the 10 or so minutes they said they could do it in, you have enough to like circle back around, but you definitely are a little limited on gas, even though you're pulling away from the public. Charles, what are you doing in the back?
When we go off-roading, Charles says, "Off-roading, eh? I remember when I was chasing a chimera in Bolivia. It was a whole lot of dirt roads."
Charles, not now. Not the right time.
Fine, we'll put a pin in it. So, Charles needs to deal with his wound. "Keep it relatively steady. I have to dress my wound, yes?" So he pulls out this salve and just kind of slathers it across his arm while he's bumping along the road.
Roll with tough, and you're getting an additional +1.
9.
You're able to administer like the antidote in there. It looks like it does take. Lope hits a bump, and then the antidote flies out of your hand and then falls on the road behind you.
"Lope, you corn on the cob, I lost my antidote."
You were able to stop the poison that was in your body, but you don't have any more antidote for future swipes, as the Manticore is like still very close onto you. Cutting back into the Manticore's lair, Alice is like throwing the poison all over, and you come up on a door. It's a motel room door, and you just seem a little drawn to it, especially in like your kind of the state that you're in. You were just looking around trying to find stuff. And for some reason, this like door is untouched by the Manticore. Most of the place kind of looks like the Manticore like went through and chose like its favorite rooms and like dragged stuff out of there. But this seems to be like one of the only rooms in the whole place that hasn't been touched.
I'm going to try and open the door.
It seems like it's locked.
Okay, why is this door locked? I'd like to try and kick it down.
Oh, okay.
Not something Alice would
Right,
normally
so yeah,
do.
you just give me a tough roll.
Spending too much time with Lope and Charles.
Yeah. Oh, Lope would do this. I'm sure it'll work. 4.
You go and you're just like, all right, this is what Lope do. This is what Lope do. And you lift your leg up, like you got to kick the door, and you just kick it, but you didn't brace your back foot, so you just kind of push yourself back and hit your head on the wall for one harm.
Oh, God.
Harold, hearing that and not seeing Alice anymore, floats back down towards this activity.
Yeah, you find Alice outside of a closed door. They're on the ground and rubbing the back of their head.
Oh.
You good? What's up?
I thought I could kick down a door.
You've been hanging out with Lupe and Charles too much.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I thought I could kick down a door. I am not strong.
Well, at least you didn't try putting your face through it, and then Harold does that.
What do you see?
It's a little hard to put your face through, so you're gonna have to try to use some of your Patrick Swayze powers.
Well, I'm gonna let's get Whoopi Goldberg. That's a 7.
So you're able to press your face through the wall. It's hard. You've never come into like a wall or a surface like this that you've had this hard of time pushing through. And your face just kind of makes it in on the other side. And it just looks like a normal hotel room at first. There's a lot of pictures all around, but you can't really make it out of what it is, though, since just forcing yourself to get in is hard enough. You can't really see well enough in there.
And I sort of rubber band back out of there. Wow, that is hard to do. That's felt a little like holding the sword. Like, it feels magic in there, and there's definitely a bunch of pictures which are not in here, and I didn't like it. I'll tell you that much. I don't know a lot about a lot of this, but I didn't care for that.
That's interesting. I wonder what's up with that room.
I mean, it's magic, clearly, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Are paintings magic? Is art truly the magic we were looking for the whole time?
Oh, that's interesting. Maybe there's something I can find back in my library. We're running out of time. So, I'm gonna, grappling hook my way out of this bitch.
Yeah, I was about to say, at this point, you definitely think that you have spread all of the poison, would, send the signal to Lope that you're done.
As Alice grappling hooks out of there, Harold starts flying in the direction he last remembers seeing the car headed to see if he can see the manticore.
Okay, so Alice, you give me an act under pressure to see your use of this grappling hook.
7.
The grappling hook like shoots up, gets you like up on the rooftop of the motel. You signal off to Harold that like you're good, so Harold goes off on his way. And then when he's far enough away that you can't hear you, you realize that the ladder to get down was destroyed by the manticore at some point. So you're kind of just on the top of a roof. It's only a 1-story building, so it's not terrible.
Oh dear.
You're just kind of on the roof right now. The two of you in the car get a text letting you know that Alice has placed all the poison and you're good to disengage the manticore. And then both of you do remember once they say that you didn't really come up with like an exact plan on like how to make the manticore stop chasing you.
Charles has an idea. Charles pulls out a very large flare and he kind of positions it on the gun, right? So he packs it in there and he's going to shoot the flare directly into the lair. It's going to be magical.
So you're trying to like shoot the flare back into the lair to try to set its lair on fire.
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to tell Lope to like make his way back around to the lair because you have to get closer for that to work. All right, so how's Lope feel about that?
He brings the car around and he gets his cell phone out of his pocket again because he read his text while driving. Bad thing to do. And he's going to go ahead and call Alice. And so he's got like just the one hand on the wheel going like probably 110 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Way too loud. There's gunshots going off, but calling Alice.
So Alice, as you're trapped on a roof, you get a phone call from Lope.
Hello?
Hey, question.
Yes.
Manticores, they protect their lairs?
Yes, they do. They are very territorial.
But if there's a problem with the lair, they'll protect it, right?
That's presumably. I mean, what are you gonna do to the lair?
Cool, get out.
What? No,
So are you U-turning, making your way back?
Oh yeah, and like doing like spinning off the road for a second. Like using the e-brake to get like a good turnaround.
I'll let you do this without a roll, but if you're doing cool shit like that, you gotta roll act under pressure. Roll plus cool.
Yeah, it's worth it. And then just like going like underneath it is the goal. That is a 10.
The manticore is just like chasing you, and then you just e-brake, spin out your car to like just complete 180 perfect turn, and then just keep driving forward. The manticore like tries to turn around so quick to chase you, it actually flips upside down in the air and then forgets that it's upside down, and the way its flight works and going upside down doesn't work. So it flies itself into the ground and hits its head and has to like regain its balance to be able to like chase you again.
Nice.
Harold, you make your way about halfway out to where the car was, and you now see that they've turned around and the manticore is like following them. It seems like they're going back towards the base.
Harold goes and sort of sits in the road where the car would come up, and it sort of puts his arm out to stop short on Lope. And so when the car just jams up at 90 miles an hour, he is able to touch Lope, and so is in the car now.
So you're gonna give me a weird roll for that. I love this.
That is a 10 natural, so 13 total.
You position yourself for it and just get ready, and then Lope, you see Harold in front of you, and I don't know if you know that he has a plan or if you just don't care, but regardless, you do not even take a second to think about taking your foot off the pedal. You just keep going forward. Harold is now like in the passenger seat because the way Charles is like kind of like leaned over in the middle, like firing out the back. And so the two of you just see like Harold has just like appeared in the car, but in chill mode already.
Welcome back to the fray, old chap.
Oh yeah, no, it's very exciting out here. We still got the sword.
And Lope kind of is trying to like root around and find the sword. It's somewhere in the car, but he's trying to focus on the driving also.
It's in here somewhere. Listen, we're going to light his home on fire.
Oh, he's gonna love that.
I know, right? It's brilliant. I feel like Winston Churchill.
Alice told me they'd get out, so we're good to go.
Alice, what are you doing?
I'm panicking at the moment because I am nowhere where I wanted to be, and this place is something's gonna happen. I just don't know what it is, but as far as I know, a very dangerous beast is flying right towards me.
You do see off in like the distance, you don't necessarily see the car, but you do see, a manticore far away in the sky, and so you can only assume that they are barreling back towards you.
Ah, shit.
Have we thought about if we set its house on fire, that it will not eat that will also burn our poison that is the heart of our plan, gentlemen?
It'll just be roasted poison. It'll have a tang.
It'll protect the house. Something Alice said.
I'm gonna go check with Alice on that. Can I borrow this? And Harold grabs the sword foolishly, but like flies out through an open window of the car and tries to push ahead.
So you fly out of the open window, and the car just goes speeding past you because it is going like 80 miles an hour, and you are a ghost and can fly, but nowhere near as fast as a car. So you kind of just get out of the car with a sword. And now you're just like standing there.
Oh, this is very bad. I have done this very badly.
And the car like goes past you. It's like I said, the Manticore wasn't on their tail anymore because of the badass move that Lope did. But now the Manticore is like right up on Harold, who like turns around and sees this thing.
Oh dear.
The two of you in the car see that like Harold's gotten out with a sword and is now like facing down the Manticore. But it seemed like to you he might have had a plan because he did do it with some purpose.
He's fine. He's a ghost. I can't kill it. What can?
And he starts flying as fast as he possibly can back towards, having not thought this super through. Like, I don't know a lot about being a ghost. This is my first time. Guys, wait!
Harold, roll act under pressure for me.
Hey, that's a hard 12 all by
Great.
itself.
So you
Nice.
are able to just like, oh no, and like you just are, you're kind of keeping.
The spirit moves
Yeah, you're
me.
kind of keeping pace from the Manticore, like it was like pretty close to you, and so it's not like gaining on you. You're definitely not going as fast as the car still, but it's like a second diversion for the first diversion. Charles and Lope, you get up within striking distance. So the way that you've rigged up your gun, you know that you can get it about from like 150 feet away. You could probably arc it in there, which also you wouldn't necessarily see Alice on the top of the building when you get in shooting
I
range.
jump onto the dumpster.
Okay, well, yeah, Charles has no idea that Alice is there.
So, Alice, first, you give me act under pressure, and you're going to take a -1.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Oh no.
Oh.
That's a 6.
So, we're gonna get back to you in a second.
Y'all are we're all gonna die at the haunted
Charles,
motel.
you take your shot. Act under pressure. 10! So, sure enough,
Nice.
you shoot this rigged up flare gun projectile into one of the windows where you knew had just a lovely pile of leaves, and immediately ignites them and starts to set the building ablaze. As you do that, like Lope probably has like stopped the car to like just like kind of watch the fire and enjoy watching this thing's house burn down. And then Charles, with your eagle eye, that's whenever you notice Alice is on top of the building. The flames like went up fast. You didn't realize how flammable this poison also was. And you see Alice running around scared, and then you just kind of see them fall through the roof back into the building, and you no longer see Alice on top of the building, and now assume that they are inside of the now burning building.
Lope, by God! Alice! They're still in the building!
Why?
Fair question. Very, very good question.
Presumably because they didn't get out in time.
All right, he's driving towards the building again. Just like grumbling under his breath, like, we had a plan every step. We went through every step, which is just like tacitly not true.
Yeah.
and he has ruined the plan already at least twice. So
Harold, you're getting close up on the car, especially because you saw that like the car stopped a little bit, and then you saw the shot go off. And so you're probably like far enough behind them that you can like scream out something to them.
Lope! What? Wait, Lope! Like, and just like continuing to move forward. Like, if I cannot catch them, I am going to go take the sword back into the lair.
Lope, you drive your car back in through the hole in the wall that you had made before. You don't have to do a cool jump, and you stop in there, and then Harold meets up with you, and you all have about 10 seconds before like the Manticore is on you to kind of figure out what you're gonna do, and the building is on fire.
Where is Alice?
Use your spidey senses to find them.
Ghost eyes. I'll like sort of reaching out, looking for souls. That's a 7. If it's weird, it's 10.
You scream out, "Ghost eyes!" And then you see Harold's ghost eyes come out of his body and start pinballing around the entirety of the building. And then they hit the back of his head, and when they do, like the jackpot noise sounds, as they roll back into place, and then Harold knows it seems that Alice has dropped into the strange room that he had a hard time phasing through before.
Oh, hey, you're real good at kicking doors, fellas. Let's go. And grabs both of them by the collars and hopes to phase them up through the normal floors and fire to get them to the magic room so they can kick it open.
So since you're trying to do two humans,
let me just grab Lope then.
Okay, I was about to say, for every one person you're trying to do this one, you're going to take a -1 on your roll.
Yeah, no, let's take with one. Come on, Lope, we're going to go get Alice.
I go, what about me?
Keep the car running.
What he said. If it's a weird roll, wait, what did you ask me for there?
So, okay, yeah, it was a weird roll, so that's a 7. But was that with the -1 for Lope?
No, that is a regular weird. So
okay.
That is a
Can I help out?
Oh my god.
Not necessarily, because he didn't take you, like, you're not with him, and then also I don't really know if Lope could, I mean... I could
just bonk his head and just pass through the building, through.
I feel like that's pretty great.
You try to go through, and Lope is going to take 1 harm as, like, he just gets slammed into a wall and falls on the ground. And then, like, Harold, you're not really realizing that Lope is not with you, so you fly directly to the room. Charles and Lope aren't with you. Charles, you're watching this happen, and you realize that the Manticore is, like, coming right up on you. What are you going to do with how Lope, like, got in there? The trunk is now open, and you remember all of your goodies that you brought for the hunt are in there, and it looks like the Manticore is right up on you.
Well, what about a nice crossbow?
Ooh, yeah. Charles is a big game hunter. He definitely likes to try to use skill over tech and things like that. So you don't really like to play on monsters' weaknesses a lot. But you knew about the kind of silver that sword is because you have one crossbow arrow that's tipped with a manticore like silver. And so you kind of think like this is the time to pull it out. And so you can take your shot.
He rifles around in there and goes,
I've got it. It's go time.
And Charles takes his kneel, takes his set, and fires.
Okay, since you're preparing yourself, you're gonna get additional +1 on your kick some ass roll.
9.
So you like aim and wait for the manticore like to get like right up on you, just 5 feet away from you, flying right on, and then you release the arrow right into its throat. The manticore takes like a direct hit, and so it doesn't swipe at you, but it does like just knock into you, knocking you back into the wall behind, like colliding with the two, and you're gonna take 2 damage as you trade blows.
I am almost dying.
But the manticore looks like it is, with like that blow was like a next to fatal blow, and it looks like it is almost out.
I've got you, you leathery bastard.
Lobe, what are you doing?
Lope's gonna get back to the car, grab the sword, and just like put himself in a position that he can keep the manticore back.
So you're gonna roll to protect someone, which is plus tough.
Thanks, pal.
You got it. Snake eyes. So I'm at a 4.
So you like pick up the blade and you help Charles up from like falling on the ground, and the manticore was on top of him. And it doesn't look like completely out, but it did look like it was pretty dazed. And so you help Charles up and like telling him like, get back, like I'll hold it off. And then as you turn around to say that, the jaws of the manticore just like wrap around your collarbone as you take a 2 harm bite.
Nice.
Yeah, you just let out like a giant, like for you it's a giant scream. For everyone else it's kind of like, oh, son of a bitch. Harold, you make your way to the door and now realize you have no Lope, but you do know that Alice is on the other side of this door.
Quick question on the Alice end. When I fell through the roof, did I take any harm?
You don't feel like you took any damage, and beneath you actually is, so you all know this about Alice, one of their favorite relics is this ancient like part of a shield that they carry on them, kind of like a good luck charm. Due to this fact, this thing has just conveniently been there numerous times to kind of save their life. And Alice is also perplexed by it because carbon dating says it's thousands of years old, but like the styling of it looks like it was made as like a modern day replica for like now. And then like the materials that it's used, like it's not that they're just magical or otherworldly, it's just like a very perplexing item. But you woke up and that thing is just kind of like beneath your head, and the best that you can assume it shielded your blow. But what Alice is feeling is very weird because all of the pictures in the room are of Alice, Charles, Harold, and Lope.
I'm going to get up and investigate every single photo. At least whichever one, I'm going to try to like just find one to look at, and I just want to like look at it. I want to like try to look behind it, see if it comes off the wall. I want to see like if there's any artist like signature on it, all that sort of stuff.
You go to your picture first, as anyone would.
Right.
And the picture is like, it's the clothes you're wearing right now. You look at Harold's picture and it's him in his like strong man ghost suit. You know, you look at Lobe's picture and it's him, and then like in the background of it, like the car is damaged in the way that it's damaged that it hit the manticore. And Charles has his like hunter hat on, and you don't see any signatures. You pull them out of like the cases they're in and stuff like that. There's no dates or anything on the back.
Can I take the picture of me out of the frame?
Yeah.
And roll it up?
Yeah.
Because I'm taking it with me.
Yeah, that's fine. So Harold, you're on the other side of this door.
Can I open the door from the inside?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to leave the room now that I have the painting.
You can open the door. You can't leave the room.
Oh.
Hey, I got the door open. My shield saved my life. Again. I'm still trying to figure it out. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
I think it's cool.
Paintings look weird. I got a copy of one. Let's get the hell out of here.
Sure. Well, come on.
Okay.
So you try to like run out of the door, and it's just kind of like a mime wall. It stops you.
I know you've been working on like a clowning thing, but this whole building is on fire. So that's really good. You've been practicing.
Wait a second. I'm gonna pull out the painting and unroll it and show it to you and say, does this look weird to you?
That's you doing stuff from today, and that's a dry, like a painting, right?
Yeah, it's weird. I'm gonna put it on the floor right next to the door frame and try to stick my hand out.
No, it doesn't seem like you can get out. And you also, it's weird because you can see that there's like smoke forming outside of this room, like because like it's billowing in the hallways, as you know the building's on fire. It doesn't look like any of the smoke is actually seeping into this room through the open doorway.
Okay, this is gonna sound weird. I think the manticore can't get into this room, and I don't think the fire can get into this room either. I think this is a safe room, but I don't know how long it's a safe room, and I don't know if it's a room you can escape from at this point.
I never really liked those escape rooms. It always seemed gimmicky. Oh, sorry, we're doing something. Yeah, I'll come in there for a second and see what's going on. Wait. Do you have cell phone? Does your phone work?
You look at your phone, it is cracked from the fall.
My phone's broken.
Oh, well, yeah, it's better this than stand in the burning building, so floats across the threshold of your weird-ass room again.
You float through. It seems like when the door was closed, it was hard for you to like break through, but now that the door is open, you're able to go in.
Can I leave the room?
Not now. Now that you're in the room.
Yeah, I was afraid this would happen.
But you do find the painting of you on the wall from earlier. It's you in your little ghost buff suit.
Oh, I look so funny in the... Okay, this is a super creepy place.
It is, yeah. But we're safe at the moment. So now that we're safe, we can sit and figure out how to get out of here.
So is it like a magic cube? Like if the beams underneath this room fall out, does the room stay here, or does it stop being magic once, like if you break a salt circle, then I could just go through there, and it's not like a big deal? But remember all the weird practicing we did with like, what the fuck, why is being dead like this? And we got a good bit of stuff in that composition book, but...
Well, I could fall in through the ceiling, so I wonder if that may have opened up a hole inside of it. This is gonna take some experimentation. I'm gonna have to really think about this from a scientific perspective.
Al floats up to try and push his hand through the ceiling.
You cannot make your way through. There is like a hole in the ceiling where you can see outside, but it's the same thing with like the door. It doesn't seem like anything's coming in from outside, but you can't get out of it.
No, it's like that up here too.
Y'all are just kind of like poking and prodding and trying to figure some things out. In the front room, the fire is now like ablaze everywhere. Lope just got hit in the back with the manticore claw. Charles is very close to death, and the manticore, it is just bleeding from so many like shotgun wounds, sniper rifle, stuff like that. It's still coughing up blood from like the arrow that's like lodged down its throat, as it just takes like one final step coming up to Charles, kind of in a understanding of your long adversary, how you've been chasing it down. It definitely knows you as well as you know it. and is just like looking like it's decided it's either you or him right now. What do you do, Charles?
Well, I have to kill him. It's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
And what do I use to do it? A spear.
Great. I'm going to give you additional +1 because, like, this isn't about you surviving. This is about you ending it.
It's just like the Chimera in Bolivia, only this time, it's death. It's a natural 10 plus a 1 plus a 1, that's a 12.
So you just go running forward. The Manticore, like, swipes once under your legs, and you jump over, and then it swipes with its other hand at you, and you just, in midair, bound off of the Manticore's claw and use the momentum just to bury the spear right into, like, its face, as the Manticore just, like, lets out, like, one final blood gurgle as it just falls limp on the ground, and the force of its body, like, going dead weight, like, even shakes the room that you're in, as you and Lope just stand over the body of the now dead Manticore corpse.
And I think I just look at it, pull my spear out and go, good night, sweet prince.
You can even do like the cool, like, cover its eyes.
Oh yeah, close. Yep, I 100% close its eyes. I
put 2 really big coins over it.
I take my pith helmet off and put it over his heart.
Very sweet and symbolic. And its body, like, rolls over into the only pile of leaves that hadn't been set ablaze yet. And as it rolls into that, they do catch fire, and you do realize that
oh shit.
the building all around you is on fire. The car has actually started to set ablaze too, because some of the leaves that had the poison wrongly put on it have now hit the car, and there is a lot of really flammable stuff in the car. It definitely seems like the hole that you had come in through, you cannot escape for, so you kind of have to, like, go deeper into the building to find another way out.
Lope goes ahead and empties his entire clip into the burning Manticore corpse. We said the trunk's open, right?
Yeah, you have, like, one last chance to grab some stuff out of it pretty much before the car explodes.
Yeah, he grabs his backpack and the beers and
nice.
Then just, like, turns to run from the car.
So similar to how your hunch worked last time, and you don't have to roll for this, you just kind of have that sense, you realized, oh, wait a minute, like, Alice and Harold are still in the building, you have to find them first. And you kind of just have a feeling of where they are. So you just see Lope just, like, start to, like, bolt off with purpose and
beers.
And beers.
Yep. Purpose and beers.
Charles limps along as best he can, but one more mark away from death. So
okay. Y'all make your way to a hallway, and it's similar before. All the rooms look like they've been, like, busted open and ravaged, but you do find one doorway that seems pretty untouched. The door is open. You see the two of them inside, and they're just kind of, like, picking up pictures, looking under pillows and stuff like that. They seem preoccupied.
What are you doing? There's no time.
Okay, here's the thing. You can enter this room, but you can't ever leave it, and this room can't be touched by whatever else is happening outside. So it's a safe room, but we can't leave. That's what we're trying to figure out right now, is how to leave. So
it's like that song Hotel California, if you're familiar with that.
yes.
Inscrutable in a lot of ways, but you definitely can never leave.
I think Charles comes barreling through the door and just collapses on the couch.
That's okay, fine.
And I'd like to read a bad situation.
Yeah, read it up.
10 plus 1.
Okay.
Can I ask what's my best way out without going in there?
From what you can surmise, like, you look in, like, because they say you can't get out, but you kind of just assume, like, well, you could just crawl out of the hole in the ceiling, or you could just, like, kind of break your way out with some of the goodies that you have in your bag. It's not that you don't believe in what they're saying, that they can't get out, but you're just kind of, you know, a little bit of arrogance. You're like, well, I could find different ways out.
Okay. What's the best way to protect the victims?
Yeah, well, you all are the victims, and it does seem like this whole building is burning and the smoke is starting, you know, to get really hard to breathe in. And you do look in there, and there is no smoke in there. So it does seem the best way to protect the victims is to hide in the room that seems to be somewhat impervious, although unescapable.
All right. Lope grabs the door, goes in, and I'd like to ask my third, are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
You haven't noticed the picture of you yet in the car that had the exact amount of damage that you just inflicted to it prior to the fire.
Cool, I'm closing that door.
Lope comes in and closes the door.
So does anybody know any games?
Does anybody have any salve or whiskey or... I'll just be here.
Right.
That is not
Injuries.
looking good. Yeah.
We should treat those.
Yeah, you can roll to treat injuries. You guys would all have like a med kit, probably.
A 12.
Because of that, you're able to heal up enough to where you're no longer in the unstabilized categories.
I only have 4 harm instead.
There you go. You get pretty good and healed up. And y'all are like searching around the room. Charles is still kind of like laid down doing that.
Fully prone.
Alice is trying to search everything. Lope is probably sitting on the bed waiting for a thing to happen.
He's opening the beers.
As the room...
While we're
He doesn't
here.
have to wait for something
yeah.
to happen. He's doing it.
we beat the Manticore. I'm opening the beers.
As this happens, you see appear in front of you in the middle of the room a hologram.
Oh, hey. It's me. I can't read what I wrote here. The Observer. Yes, the Observer.
And there's a hologram kind of like twitching in front of you, and it just repeats that like a few times.
Just, oh, hey, it's me, the Observer.
Yeah.
Hello, Miss, Mix Observer person?
Who is that?
Does it respond?
What the devil is going on?
Then you hear,
So you all made it. I guess you can just, I don't know, stand where you're standing? I'm assuming all of you have the pieces of the puzzle I told you to get, because if not, what are you doing here?
after they say that, the shield that Alice had that had protected them on their fall starts to glow.
Oh.
And Charles has this special shoulder stock that he'll use for propping big guns on. And that starts to glow on the side of his leg as he lays out on the couch. Lope had mentioned earlier there was part of a sword that he had attacked the Manticore with, and the only thing that broke off that he kept was a crossguard of the handle of the blade. That starts to glow. And then all of you know this about Harold. He doesn't know a lot about, being dead, and as he said earlier, you do a lot of tests for the, what ghosts can and can't do. Well, at one point he realized he can interact with magical things because he was able to pick up this vial filled with ink, and then he was like, well, maybe I can drink it. And then he drank it and realized it was actually the ink inside that was magical, not the vial itself. That ink just kind of went away and didn't fall out of his body. He never really knew what it was. And Harold is now just starting to cough up some ink. And it's weird because as he's coughing it up, the vial that was holding it before forms in front of him, and all the ink just starts going into that. None of you have moved, and there's now just a circle of light slowly forming around each of you where you stand and sit.
Harold's starting to have fun with it and kind of spit it up in the air like a fountain, because it goes into the inkwell no matter what. It's arcing up and he's spinning around a little, just playing with it, but it is also causing him visible discomfort.
I am just fascinated. I have so many notes that I could be taking about this experience. There's hologram in this shield glowing.
As that happens, you hear the hologram say,
So yeah, just make sure you have all those and you're all set. Say goodbye, but...
After that groan is let out, all of you kind of look to each other and you're curious, and then the circles around you all shoot up a cylinder of light, blinding you from everything outside of your circle, and you hear...
Well, now that we got that out of the way, I guess it's time for me to go on a little road trip. If any of you are still here, thanks, I guess? I don't really care either way. I'm gonna go hang out with my friends.
There's a moment of panic. The light clears. Harold, you look around and you see where your 3 companions were sitting. 3 people you do not recognize at all are standing there in their place. Harold, in place of Charles, Alice, and Lope, you now see 3 strangers. So we'll go ahead and start out with Monty.
All right, so Monty is very tall, about 6'5". He has blonde, very short cropped hair. He's wearing a full, like a huge, like parka poncho type thing. Basically covers up all his shoulders. It's big, it's green. It's also enchanted, so it's got this like slight glow to it. I'm wearing some combat boots, and I'm very, very, very nervous looking. I'm cowering around. I'm looking unsure, and in general, my body is shaking.
Winston?
Winston looks like the sort of emo kid that we all knew in high school. His eyes are starting to go a little bit black. It's looking like that could possibly be a problem.
All right, and then Conrad.
So Conrad kind of looks like if James Dean was in the movie Pleasantville. He's got a real kind of like 1950s aesthetic to him. Slacks, kind of like a vest, kind of a button-up shirt, probably about mid-30s. He just looks more confused than anything.
The 4 of you find yourselves inside of a hotel room. Standing behind Harold is a portrait of him next to the 3 of you that find yourself in the Medios. And there are 3 portraits that look like people you don't know. And you can smell smoke and fire, but it does not seem like the room you are in is on fire.
Clearly seeing the ghost person is like, oh no, I've died. This is hell. I've gone to hell.
What? Where the fuck is my dad? Oh, this is bad. Who the fuck are you people? I don't... What's happening? Where are we?
As you guys are doing this, I don't say anything, but Monty pulls out his knife, and he brandishes it very weakly as he cowers backwards from you guys in kind of a defensive move. So he's like slumping into the corner, and he's like got a shell-shocked look as his eyes widen as he's backing up from you guys.
If I may, my name is Harold Hogswatch. You are standing in what used to be the Medios Inn. My friends used to be standing there. That can't be a super huge coincidence. You're not dead. Want to start there. Not that I've died. That didn't feel great. This wasn't it. I imagine we could leave this room at some point, given that the rest of the building is not on fire.
I'm sorry. Why are you...
Dead?
I guess dead. I guess that's what we'll go with.
It is a long story, because life itself is a fragile and precious thing that could be taken from us at any moment.
And I chime in, and I like scarily, like half-heartedly bark. I'm like, no, like, why are you back?
Oh, I mean, I never left. Like, where did you guys do with my friends? Did you ever think about that one?
Better question. Why aren't we at the doppelganger convention anymore?
Well, I would be interested to hear more about a doppelganger convention. How does the name tag system work? Wait, no, I'm getting off track.
There's something about a Twitter and a book of faces.
So, I believe when we last left this room, it was roofless, but was contained in a box. Like
So
magic cube. So
there is a opening in the roof above you. The last you tried, you were not able to leave there or back through the door to the rest of the hotel.
Well, Harold does try to phase through the door.
It still does not seem like Harold can make it through right now.
Okay. Well, it looks like we are still stuck in here. If somebody wants to try opening the door, that's not really, and he tries to pass his hand through the door knob, and it just doesn't make any contact.
I'm just gonna stare real hard at the door and attempt some form of magic.
Yeah, Winston, you give me a weird roll.
This feels like a moment where I a little bit want to use a luck point, possibly.
Yeah, you can use it.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna use a little luck point there.
So what happens is all of you just see Winston freaking out more and more, looking hella nervous. Even though the room you're in wasn't on fire, it does look like fire is starting to spread around all the walls. And then Winston just goes, no. And then it just kind of like sucks back in. And then you see the door click and unlock. And the door swings open.
Okay.
I think I've had enough of fire today.
Well, let's look out the door.
You look out the door, and it does seem like whatever Winston just did, he was able to break the seal on the room you're in. So you look out the door, and you are inside of a hotel that is on fire. It's not completely like an inferno or anything like that, but it definitely is going to be hard to like get out. But there is an opening on the roof that you might be able to get up to.
Question, I just look back. Are the portraits still intact?
Yeah, the portraits seem to still be intact.
Okay, I'm going to go take a look at the portraits.
Okay.
I want to see if they're magical. Like, I want to see if there's like properties to them, or like I'm like putting my hand over them to like feel.
Yeah, just give me like a weird check.
10.
You just start trying to see like if the paintings themselves are magical. You just blind yourself because this entire room is just emitting with just energy.
All right.
Yeah. And also when you do that, everything, like, you see all that, but then each of you, there was an item that you were holding. At the floorboard where Harold was standing, there's like a little inkwell that lights up. Winston has a feather in his hand that lit up. Conrad has a pair of binoculars around his neck that are slightly glowing. And Monty, you can see that he has a kind of a piece of paper sticking out of his back pocket that lights up a little bit.
I take my piece of parchment out and like I treat it like it's on fire. I start screaming. I'm like, what is this? What is this? Get it away from me! And I throw it into the air, and it slowly does an ascent to the ground, a little glowing piece of parchment.
Conrad stomps it.
Oh, thank God.
All right, Conrad, are you really stomping it?
Yeah, like as if it's on fire.
So Conrad goes to stomp it as if it's on fire and immediately like lands one foot on it and then just gets propelled back and thrown into the wall. You're not going to take any harm, but you definitely had the wind knocked out of you.
That seemed like a bad idea, just a little bit.
I realize that now.
You know what? I suddenly feel a whole lot safer a room full.
I'm an expert at this type of thing.
What? What? This type of thing?
Yeah, someone say, like, I'm the expert on this. He hinted broadly.
Okay, sure. I will take your word for it. Also, I didn't tell you all what my name is. I'm Win. Hello.
Hey, Win.
This is weird. I'm assuming that you guys didn't kidnap me. So you said where we were. I don't know where that is. I don't know what that is.
Did you guys all just talk to a weird hologram lady in a room similar to this with places to stand on the floor?
I had a hologram lady yell at me as my friends were dying.
We were inside of a video game. I was in there with my dad and 2 of my friends.
I came from a place with a lot of denim, and I'd like to leave it at that.
So while they're conversating, I kind of nervously look away, and I look back at the portrait, and I pull out my knife, and I jam it. I'm assuming that it has a cause-effect reaction on what just happened. I jam it into the portrait while I look over, and I drag my knife through the whole portrait.
You do that, and nothing seems to happen from stabbing the portrait.
And I cry. I sob.
Did that cut a hole in the picture?
In one of the pictures, not in
Hey,
yours.
that's my friend.
Should I specify that I was going after...
Oh, yeah, you're going after Harold?
Yeah, I am going after Harold.
Yeah, so
I'm looking at Harold while I do it. I look him in the eyes, like I'm like going back and forth. I'm like, devil! And I stab it into the picture and try to cut it.
Oh, yeah, so nothing happens to the photo of you or Harold.
I was just picturing, like, in some other podcast, someone just died. It's like,
Right.
you just always
you figured out my voodoo doll portrait of Dorian Gray puzzle.
So I have this lovely little thing called telepathy. I would very much like to just sort of pop into your mind, Monty, and just sort of check in and see what the hell's going on.
So you give me a weird check, Winston.
From a casual observer, it seems like it's going great in there.
That is a 10.
You try to pierce Monty's head, and you do it, and there is a deathly, eerie silence inside of Monty's head.
Oh, that's odd. I'm gonna just pop right back out of there.
All right.
That was weird.
And I'm looking right at you as you were doing it.
I don't know that I liked that.
So about the fire, that escape route in the ceiling/roof area, about how high is it?
It does seem like it is just like a single-story hotel, so it is probably about 8 feet up in the air that you can make your way out up to it.
Like a straight jump would probably get it, or like...
Yeah, because
do we need
there's some
to
like
clamber?
debris and stuff like that you can grab onto, so you can like make your way up there. If you want to try to like get up there, you can give me an act under pressure with a cool check.
Actually, I'll give you an act under pressure with a sharp check because I read about this type of thing. You know, climbings and such.
Yeah, perfect.
Jumping?
Y'all ever heard of jumping?
I see the trick is to bend your knees. That'll be a 10.
So y'all just see Conrad just kind of like look at the conversation of Winston trying to pierce through Monty stabbing a picture of Harold, and Harold just being like, what the fuck? And then Conrad just kind of shimmies his way up and gets on the roof.
So what's it looking like?
Looks taller.
If you want, Conrad, you can give me a read a bad situation roll.
That would be an 11.
Okay, you get to ask 3 questions.
Let's go with what's my best way out?
You do look and see that where the fire escape on this building was, it has collapsed. But what you do see is that
What's the best way out, though?
But what you do see is the best way out for you is you're looking around and then you notice that on the other side of the roof, you can jump down to where there's some abandoned cars lining the side of the building to where it's not like an easy jump, but it's, less of a distance. And that's the best way for you to get out and off the roof.
What's the biggest threat?
Well, looking for the best way off of the roof, you are going to each side. And so you go to the west side, go to the east side, and then you go back to the west side just to double check. And on your second return to the west side of the building, you start to notice in the distance, it seemed like there's just a bunch of beasts from every side of you just coming towards this area. And you're trying to, you have binoculars on you and you can look in them and see it's just a just smorgasbord of creatures. They all seem very feral and beast-like. And so it's not necessarily any extraterrestrial creatures or things like that, but it seems like a lot of your were creatures,
your standard were creatures,
your standard were creatures,
normal, terrifying animals that we're used to from
manticores, all the like.
They're not on the building that you're at, but it just does seem to you that they are all walking in one direction and you're at the center of it.
Gotcha.
There's some winged creatures coming from the sky. There seems to be these giant, they look like monstrous vultures, but they're all coming in towards you. So that's the second one. What's the third question?
I guess the third question would be, what's the best way to protect the victims, i.e. us?
So you're trying to look around for the best way to protect you, and you hear some weird, it sounds like a pit stop on the side of a building, and you kind of look in, and there is a giant hole in the wall, and a body of just a massive manticore just destroyed. And then next to it, where you hear the source of some sounds, is a convertible that looks in pristine condition.
I'll just kind of look down through the hole towards the our ghostly friend and just be like, so were there a whole bunch of creatures when you were out here last, hordes?
Harold flies up through the hole to look and is... Oh, no.
I hand him my binoculars.
No, we didn't. You
can touch these binoculars.
Oh, well, I am surprised at looking at your binoculars and hold them up and begin having it. Oh, no, none of that.
Yeah, Harold looks out and sees a chupacabra.
None of this was happening. We did the manticore.
When you look down at the manticore, you do see Lope's car is now completely fixed. It's better than you've ever seen it. And the last time you did see it is whenever it was being driven in to the manticore.
That is remarkable. You guys want to ride? Somebody has to drive.
Oh, I could drive.
I don't have my license.
We're good here. I think we can handle this. And Harold tries to fly down to get Winston and
Monty.
Thank you. Face stabby.
While Conrad and Harold were having these conversations, what were Winston and Monty doing down in the room?
So I took out my phone. I started to send a text to my dad, and then I realized wherever my dad is, he probably doesn't have his phone because he just wouldn't. Instead of that, I decided I was going to email my weird ghost friend, hey, I have no idea where I am. I don't know what's happening. Some weird shit seems to be going on. I think I need assistance. And that's the end of the email to the ghost friend.
You get one of the fastest responses you've ever got back from that email, and it just says, don't trust him. And you see that, and you're looking up at Monty. Earlier, whenever the pizza driver, the car crashed, and you saw what you thought was hitting your mom. Behind Monty, you see a flash. Your mother is standing there, and then she blinks away, and it's at the same time that you get the email that says, "Don't trust him."
Oh.
So I run up, I grab the phone out of Winston's hand, and
there's gonna be.
Yeah.
I mean, let's do it.
It's going to be an act of pressure from Monty, so that's plus cool.
Okay.
I'm 1000% about to jinx you, though.
Yeah, and then, you're both are going to be doing something at once, so Monty roll act under pressure, and then Winston, you can do your jinx at the same time.
Harold goes to get his bottle of ink.
That's a 10.
Ooh, 4.
Okay, so pretty much what happens is Monty goes to take your phone and just fumbles under the frame of the photograph of Harold that he tore and ripped off, and so Monty just face plants in front of you, Winston. What does your hex do?
The aim for me is just immobilize basically everything except the head. I want him to be able to speak. I do not want him to move.
You catch him mid-trip, and so his body is he's just barely on half a foot, and he's falling in air, but everything is frozen except for his head. So Monty can speak, hear, and listen, but everything else is kind of frozen. This is happening at the same time. So Harold is coming back down a little bit, but before that happens, what's happening between Winston and Monty?
I start sobbing. I'm sobbing, and I'm like, you don't understand. They tracked us down with phones last time. That was how they killed all of us. They found out how we were texting.
This is going to be so much easier if you just think through the things that happened to you previously, and I just watch them. I'm rolling a lot of 10s.
So you got a 10, and you're trying to see inside of Monty's head?
Yep.
But so Winston starts to just look deep into Monty. Winston then sees what time was like before creation happened. Winston sees an infinite void of everlasting nothingness, and then Winston just sees a spark, and he sees everything after that. He sees worlds upon worlds upon worlds stacking, ever expanding outward, and you see Monty as what was before this spark happened, and you just get the sense, and you hear your mom's voice again of, don't trust him, and you come back, and Monty is now fully mobile again.
So I put my hand up to his face.
Yeah.
And I do a necromantic blast.
All right.
Shit.
5.
As soon as this happens, Harold pops back down and sees Winston staring into nothingness as Monty tries to do a necromantic blast on Winston's face. And Harold, you, without having to roll, just instinctually grab Monty's hand and are able to hold it, even though normally you can't interact with corporeal things, but you're able to just hold his hand back. And Harold, you can go ahead and do an action because you just saw what just blatantly looks like Monty trying to take down Winston.
You are way, way more aggressive than this situation merits. Will you please slow down?
If I slow down, we'll die.
I kind of just want to harm him to knock him out, if that's...
Yeah, do it.
I mean, well, that's not great for me, so... No, that's a 4, so I try, and...
You trying to do that, and the necromantic blast that Monty was trying to hit Winston with, as soon as you try to phase into his body with your hand, that energy just comes back on you, and you're gonna take 2 harm, and it is magic. And then Conrad, you definitely do hear a commotion coming from the hotel room that you just left.
Do I still have my my immediate inventory on me?
Yeah, you have your immediate inventory on you.
Perfect. I would like to use my shotgun. I would like to fire a warning shot.
Yeah, so pretty much just what happens is you don't have to roll for anything like that. Conrad, you're just standing over the hole, looking down, and just let off a shotgun blast right above everybody. And you all look up, and Conrad is above you and has a shotgun just pointed down.
And a little bit of a stern look, just
Just gonna lash out a little bit with some form of energy to just sort of knock the shotgun out of your hand because I'm annoyed.
Give me a weird roll.
Another one. Oh, this one is bad. This one's a 5.
You go to knock the shotgun out of Conrad's hand. What you do is just knock his finger on the trigger. And so you're going to take 2 harm as you take a buckshot in the leg, Winston, as you just make Conrad shoot down at you.
So that's 3, yeah?
No, you just take 2. You're just taking 2. It's a little reduced.
Just winged you.
Just winged you. Still fucking hit you. And then also the door was open and the magical barrier was broken. And it's been long enough that the fire is starting to like catch up to the room you're in.
I'll just take advantage of the situation. Now, if no one else wants to get shot, they need to get up here on the roof now.
Well, how the shit am I supposed to get on the roof now? God damn it, you just shot me.
Can I roll sharp to see if I have like a little bit of rope?
Yeah.
Maybe some corded up denim.
Yeah, you have that. 'Cause don't you have the expert move of that, right?
Yes, that is perfect. That's a 12. Just rope on the ground. Just
like as soon as Winston says like, how am I supposed to get up? Like Conrad just like pulls a strap on his backpack and like just a thing of like rope just falls down as he like wraps his arm around one end and like braces himself.
Convenient.
Yeah, and so Winston, you can climb up. What are Harold and Monty doing as Winston's climbing up?
I also scrambled. I'm gonna try to scramble to the top. The shotgun blast scared me.
Okay, and what's Harold doing?
He's gonna drink his bottle of ink.
Okay,
and then he's going to just phase out and sort of stay, but like off of a different part of the roof.
Yeah,
because everyone's been
give me a weird check once you drink your bottle of ink.
That is a 10.
After you drink it, you kind of get the suspicion there's a piece of parchment that was left behind.
And I float down and try and grab that.
And you are able to grab that.
And I bring it with me.
All right, so yeah, all of you are now on top of the roof together. Conrad, you kind of had the lead on this, what with the shotgun. And also Winston, you're definitely, a little hurt with your gunshot in your leg. What are the 4 of you doing? And Monty is definitely just like frantically running around and just...
I point over at the car. We should use it to get out of here.
Wise counsel indeed, friend. Well,
I wish someone thought of that earlier.
Everybody, if you're all hopping down with the exception of Harold, because he is a ghost and can just fly, give me an act under pressure for the hop down.
This was in the second chapter of a book I read on jumping called Falling.
Well, you'll also get a +1, Conrad, since you'd already like scouted everything out.
That is a 7 for me.
12 for me with all my bonuses.
Conrad just parkours, and Conrad is an older dude, and you did not expect that kind of mobility out of him. At one point, you're like, he didn't do a cartwheel down the side of just of a building, right? It can't be. But like Conrad, before anyone else can get down there, is just already inside of the driver's seat of the car that's just right next to this giant manticore carcass.
Flip the visor down, catch keys.
Monty and Winston, you two make it down. It's a little bit more of a shimmy, but, I think you're also both a little weary of each other right now and eyeballing as you're trying to get down.
1,000%.
Right, are we in the car or just around the car? Where are we?
You're getting down.
Getting down right
so
now?
You're like getting down to like the front of the building to then walk through the giant hole in front of it that like leading into where the car is.
Okay, cool.
Conrad, can I see those binoculars for a sec? Like Harold floats over and... Can I see those binoculars for a second?
Yeah, sure. Just not even thinking about, like, I'm pinning a physical item to a ghost. Just like, yep.
I fly up, and is this a ring of monstrous animals? Is this coming from one direction, or are we just going to drive in any direction and hit a wall of animals?
You fly up and start to, like, look with the binoculars and are, like, just spinning around. And without doing anything, since you have binoculars, you grab the parchment and then you drink some ink. The ink is now just kind of like seeping out of your body and is floating around the parchment as like you're looking, like every time you look at like a new creature or monster, like a little more ink comes out of your ghost body and is like floating next to the parchment. But also, to answer your other question, yes, it does look like there is just a giant ring of monsters. But this definitely grabs your attention first because you're like, hey, how many monsters? Why in the fuck is this happening? And then you do double check, and it is, yes, a ring of a shit ton of like monsters coming towards you. And they seem to be like the closest one seems to be about 500 yards out.
Hi, gang. Couple of things. I got weird pocket ink paper things, but also... We're not getting far in this. There are going to be a lot of monster animals handing the binoculars back, and they'll be here in, I'm going to go with soon and sooner if we drive.
Well, I mean, looking at it this way, this is a V8. Good car, American car.
Dude, I saw Mothman, Chupacabra, and a Yeti. I mean, we could try it.
I'm like,
well,
I'm gonna go with the
Yetis
V8.
are big. We'll just avoid the Yeti.
So Winston's gonna grab good old feather thingy, sort of dab the end of it in the floating ink.
As soon as Winston does that, like the feather pops out of his hand and immediately just starts writing down everything that the binoculars witnessed.
Oh, well, that's a neat little trick. I'ma just read it.
Oh, it tickles.
Yeah, and you just start reading along, and like sure enough, it is just like a list of everything that Harold just told you he saw up there of different monsters, and on some of them, like they have like notes on different ones of like sizes of ones, like the pack order that some of them are going in, and it seems the parchment itself is just a singular piece of paper, but as the ink is like being embedded into it by the feather itself, the text is just scrolling upward into the parchment as information is just getting filled over and over in it.
That shit's wild.
It's like one of those apple pod things.
Probably 300, 400 meters from here is a wall of monstrous animals.
Yeah, are you looking at them again?
I gave the binoculars back because I know about how far they are, and that seems horrible. We should have a real plan. I could just fly away, but they're coming from the sky. So,
looking at the list, do we see like a particularly small pack? Like anything about grill height or lower?
There are things, there's like a little drawing of them that kind of look like the little critter monsters, the little ball, like little fur ball things. Tribbles, you know, from Star Trek. They look like that. And there is like a pack of them roaming that kind of seems like they'd be the easiest to mow through when you're like reviewing the notes.
Do you remember that game Red Rover?
Yeah.
I think we're going to try that and just back out car.
Harold phases into the car.
I'll just be in the vehicle.
Before Monty gets into the car, I am going to try to summon a monster into the world.
Okay.
And the manticore body is still there, right?
Yeah.
Can I revive the manticore?
Give me a weird check.
I want to help entirely.
10.
All right.
Man.
Wait, that's okay. So it's an 11.
Winston is helping from within the car.
Does he have to roll to help? I mean,
it's still gonna be a success regardless.
Okay.
And so Winston is excited, and you just all see Monty reach his hand out towards the manticore corpse, and the corpse itself starts to rumble, and what it looks like is from the actual stomach, like from the actual like rib cage of the manticore itself, is just birthing a skeletal manticore creature that just has...
It's a Monticore.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it just has like giant fangs and claws, and like it steps out, and then you see like it like stretch its back, and a set of bone wings just expand from the back.
Oh come on, we just finished killing that.
Yes, but this one is on our team.
No, and it's a skeleton. That's way cooler, I admit. Yeah.
It's on our team, I guess. This is a real fucked situation. I think we should probably start driving.
Does the Monticore have independent, like, is it its own creature?
No, it's under your control.
Oh, no, I'm saying, does it have, like, its own stats and stuff? Like, I don't even know.
The creature itself can take 4 harm of damage.
Okay.
And then it does 2 harm every time it hits.
I just did a whole bunch of crap, so someone else go ahead.
Well,
I'm going to take this plot vehicle and drive it forward.
So you better get in this car.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess you're right. That is a point. I'm going to attack the car with the Manticore.
The car?
I hate this guy.
Yeah, it's going to try to do like a T-Rex.
Conrad's like backing the car up to like get it out. Because you got to like do like, you got to back it up, push it in a little bit, back it up, going a little bit, it definitely was like driven through a building. But you now see this Manticore skeleton is running straight for the car, Conrad, with the 3 of you in it. So give me an act under pressure roll as you're trying to drive this car and avoid this skeletal beast.
The reason why I knew it was a Manticore is because I read about something like this. It's the best trait. It's the best trait ever.
You could write a book about any subject.
So that's a 6. That's a 2. but I'm sharp, so that makes it a 10.
You see this coming and just like slam on the gas to where you go deeper into the Midiocene. But what you're surprised about is as soon as you hit a wall and you think like there's going to be some damage on this car, it seems that this car like didn't take any kind of damage whatsoever as it like drove through, and the Manticore just barely misses, but is now like turning around and like facing you so you can see it in your rearview mirror.
I'm gonna just stare at this Manticore. I'm imagining more fire. I don't really know what that's going to do to a skeleton, but gonna light it on fire.
Oh yeah, so give me a weird check.
That is an 8.
The Manticore lights on fire. It does seem to be hurt by fire, actually, which is weird since it is just made of bone. It's gonna take 2 harm, and as soon as Winston does that, he hears a voice in his head say,
No such thing as psychics.
And you, for right now, feel like you've lost the connection to your spooky friend.
Wow.
Oh, that's a problem. Oh, something's wrong.
Yeah, lots of stuff right now. I could name. Go on.
Well, I mean, yes. Obviously, everything is fucked. The world is on fire at this moment. It's not great. I was referring to something else. You know what? I'm not going to talk about it. It's fine. It's fine. I'll figure this out.
We could talk about it while we're driving away from here towards the drill hole.
Let us keep driving, indeed. Let us keep doing that.
We're leaving this one then, right?
I mean, I don't... He's not...
Yeah, there's a Manticore that just jumps on top of the car as y'all have a very casual conversation.
He's way not chill. Have you noticed that?
I would like to use my shotgun to kick some ass.
Yeah, I'm doing little slashy things through the windows, doing the claws,
try to kick some ass on the Manticore. Does not seem like the Manticore is able to actually break or scratch through anything, even the glass itself on this.
Okay.
So it's not really... The car is clearly magic, so I'll just throw that out there. Hang on a second. And hopes to fly phase through the back of the vehicle, come find... Harold does this to come find Monty. And hoping to sneak up on him by just passing through objects.
So yeah, give me an act under pressure. Give me a cool check.
I am 10 cools.
Wait, you trying to go after Monty or the Manticore?
Monty.
Okay, that's all. Just make sure.
And where am I?
So I think you were probably just like walking up a little bit. So
I was like cowered away.
Yeah, so you were cowered away and are paying attention to the Manticore on top of the car.
Yeah, like as he sneaks up behind me, I'm just like, yeah.
And then and then Harold, you do sneak up behind Monty.
And I don't want to say Vulcan nerve pinch, but like I kind of want to just hit him in the back of the neck with a little bit of
roll to kick some ass.
Well, doesn't go great for me.
As soon as you try to do that, Monty is like cowering in front of you. But what's very weird is like you see Monty's head turn around, but it's not like his physical head. There's like a shadow version of Monty that like turns around and looks at you. Monty's physical head is still looking forward, and as soon as like Monty looks at you, all of the ink that you had in your body just starts like shooting out everywhere out of your body, and you're gonna take 1 harm.
That's bad.
Monty, what are you doing?
Yeah, I see this, and while my like regular self is still like being a really nerdy puppeteer, and he's like, yeah, slash him up, get him. The shadow me is like walking right over to Harold and does another. Can I grab him in this state? Has he? I know he's like a phantom, but
your shadow form can definitely interact with his.
I grab him by the throat and I do, but the same effect as a necromantic blast.
All right, so roll plus weird.
That's an 11.
Is it 2 or 3 harm?
It is. Blast is 2 harm, and necromantic adds life trait.
All right, so you're gonna take
1 harm because still incorporeal provides an armor.
Yeah.
Would necromantic get through that? I don't even. I don't want to like argue a point like that.
Not for this, because it's still. But if you had taken any harm, you're healed out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and so you, Conrad, noticed that like, oh wait a minute, Harold the ghost is next to me, and then you look once again in the rearview mirror, and you just see a weird shadow Monty reach out of the back of physical Monty and grab Harold by the neck and is just choking him.
Quickly look at our Winston. It's like, so I'm gonna do something rash here.
Oh,
I'm just
fuck.
gonna floor it, and I would like to use the car to strike the physical Monty.
Okay, so you give me this is gonna be a tough roll.
Because if just to make sure I'm understanding this situation correctly, Monty's a dick, right?
No, you're getting a pretty good read on it.
Look, I came from a really tough world. All right.
I mean, I'm imagining that that's probably the case. However, I still a little bit want to kill you.
I like how Winston's like, the jury's still a little bit out. Winston spends a lot of time on the internet, so he'll give some passes, you know.
I don't know, that was a pretty
I'm just making sure, like, I'm not
he could
mishearing the
have a
situation. We had a Monticore summon, and now it's attacking the vehicle that I'm in, which I'm dubbing the Gertrude Mach 4.
And I thought I helped with this shit. That was a bad idea.
It's gonna be on our side, you said.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a kick some ass tough roll from Conrad.
I'm not sure how this will work, but I would like to use my precise strike. When I inflict harm on a monster, I can aim for a weak spot.
Yeah, you're gonna go for his body.
The car-shaped part.
Yeah.
My body is my weak spot.
The whole body.
My bones.
How'd you know?
So that's a 13.
So you just reverse back, slam into Monty, sending the physical Monty just flying like out in the road, and stop perfectly to where Harold and Shadow Monty are now just sitting in the car with you. And this is kind of like a wacky situation where like Shadow Monty was still choking Harold, and now they're just in the back seat, like fighting each other inside of the car. And what is Winston gonna do?
I'm going to punch Shadow Monty in the face. I have no idea if it's going to work. I'm going to try, because honestly, at this point...
So yeah, give me a tough roll. Try to kick some ass.
Oh, shit. That's a 7. I don't like it.
Yeah, me neither.
You raise up your fist to go punch Shadow Monty, and you feel like your mom's hand is just like holding yours as you like ball up a fist. And you see kind of some light shine from it as you do make contact with this shadow form. So Monty, you're going to take 2 harm. And then Winston, you're going to take 1 harm in exchange, because as soon as the light dissipates, your hand looks a little burnt.
Oh, fucker.
And then Harold, you are no longer being choked after Shadow Monty got punched.
Well, having recently come in contact with this necrotic energy, Harold has leveled up and is now using unholy strength. So he'll be rolling weird instead of tough in attempts to puncture the sides of his colleague. Rolls a 7, so...
Yeah, so you're just trying to fight with...
I mean, I'm just going to try and roll him out of the car, phase him out of the car.
Yeah, I think you just grab Shadow Monty and the two of you like phase out, and you'll each just take 1 harm. Shadow Monty is now out of the car and in a tussle with Harold.
Where is Monticore?
Monticore is on top of the car. Monticore can go ahead and do a thing.
Yeah, Monticore is just going to take one hand and do like what I call a shing with 1 nail, and then just slice it into the car. Whatever effect that does. Trying to stab one of them to death.
Give me a sharp roll, because Monticore keeps trying to stab into it, but the car...
With the claws, because they're sharp.
I'm trying to get through the window.
Yeah. But that's why you're going to give me a sharp roll, because Monticore realizes he needs to like find a way in by opening the door.
Okay. 8.
You see that the Monticore now understands like a velociraptor of like, wait a minute, click, click, click. This is how I do it. And so, Conrad, you have 1 second to act before this giant Monticore opens up the door that seems to be impenetrable, but not locked.
I'm driving. I'm trying to think of how to get to the back seat from the front seat without losing the car part.
I mean, you could just try to like drive forward through another wall and just knock this thing off of you.
I think that's what I'll do, is I'll look for like a low-hanging like piece of rubble.
Yeah, and so you're able to do that. You've read a book about low-hanging rubble for sure. Well, you read a sign driving up a mountain once that said falling rocks, and you're like, okay, I get it.
That's a 9.
All right, so
is that gonna be good? Because I'm feeling like I should use some luck.
It's up to you if you want to make it a luck. It's a mixed success, so you're not failing this.
Can I help out with some encouraging words? I believe in you.
Go.
Yeah, he got a 9. So if you roll a help out, which is plus cool, you can attempt to.
Fabulous.
He's 16. He has to be cool, right? All 16-year-olds are cool.
Well, it's a 7.
So whenever you get a mixed success on help out, you do give them a +1, but you do open yourself to dangers. So Winston starts to scream, all right, go. And as he slams his hand down, he accidentally like rolls the window down a little bit. To where you drive forward and are able to knock the Manticore off of the top, but before you could have done that, it already got a claw in and was grabbing Winston, so he's just ripped Winston out of the car door. So the car door is still intact, but it just got like knocked open from the force of Winston hitting it from the inside. And so Winston, you're going to take 1 harm as the Manticore now has you on the ground. And Conrad, it seems like you were able to get the creature off the top of it, but where you have like driven the car, one of the wheels is like, one of the back wheels is like propped up to where it can't get any traction. So you can't move the car anymore currently.
And now I'm unstable.
Physical Monty is now getting back up and walking, and as you see Monty walking in, there's a horde of bestial creatures all around you, and what's really terrifying is you see there was some that were in the sky, but as you see all of these walking towards you, you start to see wings sprouting out of every creature that didn't already have wings as they just start to take flight and come in on you faster. And Shadow Monty and Harold are fighting still. Winston is on the ground with a Manticore above him, and Conrad is in the car.
So is this a Monty and Harold right now?
Yeah, Shadow Monty and Harold.
Shadow Monty, Harold, I don't know if you're up for it, but I'm imagining a pretty cool Dragon Ball Z style fight with ghosts in the sky. I don't know if you'd be down to do something like that, but I think it'd be pretty cool. No, I'm gonna try to lift him up into the whoever.
You each just give me a weird roll, contesting one another.
That's an 11.
So is mine.
Wow.
So you do. Both of you do have a Dragon Ball Z fight as you just start to see the two of them ghost flashing in and out around the room, and then every time they try to land a ghost blow, they have a ghost block just right up for it. You know, and then every move they do say ghost in front of it. You know, ghost jab, ghost parry.
Shouting every single move that we're doing.
Can I help Harold?
Yeah, you can help Harold during all of this, so roll to help out. There's still the cool scene of them blinking in and out everywhere.
Just to get him to 1-up. All right. What am I rolling for this?
That's plus cool.
I don't suppose I read about this sort of thing.
No, not for helping out.
You've never read about helping out?
No?
There's like so many books about that.
Didn't need it. I got a 10. I have 1 cool.
So yeah, so you give Harold a +1. So there's like the two of you are blinking in and out everywhere, and then Conrad realizes that y'all are just kind of going in a pattern into the exact same places, and you're both calling out your moves before you do them.
Because it was cheaper to animate that way.
Yeah, the afterlife has to be made inexpensive somehow.
And so Conrad realizes that there's a pattern to this and is able to just like let off a shotgun blast at the right time to distract Shadow Monty, to where Harold eventually just gets to like grab him and without trying banish Shadow Monty.
Oh, well that's never happened before, but...
You didn't use ghost banish?
And as this is happening, Winston is on the ground and the Manticore is about to like stab him, and then out of a black mist steps out Lope, and he just pulls out his gun, blasts the Manticore, and it just disintegrates. Physical Monty starts to try to walk up and say something to Lope, and Lope doesn't even look over at him. He just shoots Monty in the head as Monty falls down dead.
Fabulous.
Lope picks up a 6-pack from his belt, throws a beer to Conrad, throws a beer to Winston, throws a beer through Harold, and then he looks at Harold and goes,
Good news. Got a new hunt.
Beams of light surround all 4 of you again. Once they dissipate, Harold, you're now with your original team in the Midios Inn.
Seasons was created and edited by Joel Ruiz and is a property of the Critical Bits podcast. Narration by Jack David. Opening tracks provided by People Need Goals. Featuring voices of Adam LaGrave, Rebecca Parks, David Rodriguez, and Beck Shepherd. Seasons cast list is as follows: Danielle Bryn, Cole Burkhart, Kyle Classett, Brian Emond, Alex Flanagan, Brandon Leon Gambetta, Taylor Johnson, Shelby Lee, Zalavia Nelson Jr., Jack Packard, Renee Rhodes, Eve Smith, Shannon Strucci, Patrick Tracy, Dallas Wheatley, and Aaron Willems. For links to the cast's Twitter, People Need Goals music, and more info on the show, please visit seasonsminiseries.com. Also, please consider supporting Critical Bits on Patreon, so they can continue to bring you more actual play events. You've been listening to a Do You Validate production.